McBride, Nate Smith, and so many more. And don't miss the kickoff party with Hunter Brothers. Big Valley Jamboree, July 29th to August 1st in Camrose. Tickets and camping at bigvalleyjamboree.com.
We're a division of Moose Media, but you can call us CKFU-FM 100.1 Moose FM. The opinions expressed on this show do not represent those of the station. If you've missed any of the shows, you can follow the podcast at energeticcity.ca. Welcome to This Week in the Peace, a show dedicated to the people, events, and news of BC's Peace region. Here's your hosts, Dub Craig and Steve Berard.
Well, good morning to you. Just Dub Craig flying solo today. Steve is off. I have one very special guest today. Now, Connie Grey Eyes wears a lot of hats in the community. She's, of course, a community organizer and an activist and advocate, I should say. And she stopped by to talk to me yesterday, mostly about the Spirit of the Peace powwow, which is getting underway this evening at the Taylor District Ice Center. We talked a lot about that and why it's important, but we also touched first on a recent donation drive she was helping to spearhead to help ensure that high school graduates who are facing some financial challenges could attend prom if they wanted to. Here's part one of that conversation. Connie, thanks so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me here today.
You're very welcome. You're here to talk about Spirit of the Peace, the powwow happening this weekend, but I wanted to start with this that kind of came together last week really quickly. You and I believe Jeanette Johnson and some other people kind of realized that grad tickets are expensive, and of course the whole sort of situation around your kind of high school graduation can be expensive. The tickets, of course, the renting the tux, the prom gowns and that sort of thing. And you were starting to collect sort of suits and dresses and money to donate to make sure that people who maybe saw buying tickets as a financial burden would be able to send their kids, or they would be able to go to the grad. Tell me a bit about that. What happened where you just suddenly went, I think we can help some people out here with this situation?
Well, I was having a conversation with my little sister, and my son had incidentally asked me, he goes, "Mom, should I buy the girl that I'm taking to prom the ticket?" And I said, "Well, of course. Like, you're going on a date, so of course you'll buy her ticket." And then he's like, "Okay, I need $140. I was like, "What?" And so I was telling my little sister Patsy about it, and she's like, "Wow, that's so classist." I go, "What do you mean?" And she's like, "Well, she goes, there's a lot of people that can't afford $70 right now in these times to go to prom. And then not to mention the suit and the dress and everything else that you want to have to feel special, right?" So it just got me thinking that, you know what, I was gonna put a call out that if you need prom tickets, that me and my friends would help, and we would pay for those tickets. We got a message right away that there was 4 for sure, and then another one that came forward, and then a couple more, and it just kind of snowballed into Petite Pedal Company messaging and saying, "Hey, I'll donate corsages and boutonnieres."
Amazing.
And her flowers and her boutonnieres and corsages are so beautiful. So that's Debbie from Petite Pedal, and then Jeanette opened up her big, vast social media, and we just made it happen. I actually spent my evenings preparing a dress for a young lady that wasn't actually going to go to prom at all, and then she wanted to go but wasn't sure if she was allowed, and just circumstances, and it turned out that she was able to go, and so we got her the ticket. And then the dress, I spent a couple of nights, like late nights, hemming it and making it so that it fit her. And I've never ever done formal gowns or anything before, so I was like really scared. And she came and tried it on yesterday at 5, and it fit perfect.
Amazing.
And you know what? Like, when you get a message from a youth that says, "You made me feel so special," that's what it's all about.
I mean, it's a rite of passage, right, to kind of go to your grad and your prom. And I think you mentioned, I imagine this gave you a little more, desire to help out too. You didn't go to your prom, and you wanted to say, well, what a shame if someone couldn't go because of the financial circumstances.
Exactly. The fact that she is all dolled up, she's getting her nails done. We offered to do her hair. I have donations right now because we paid for a couple of people's grad pics. Because a bare minimum package is $210.
Yeah.
Like, that is like groceries for a month for some families, and that's not feasible. And then we had a young girl, Sierra. She's like, "I'll go to prom tomorrow and I'll take formal pictures for people that that don't have the money to do that.
Yeah.
Just so many people. I'm so proud of this community in so many ways that that they're just willing to help like that. It's a beautiful thing.
Absolutely. Well, you've given a few numbers out here, but can you say kind of how many people you ended up helping kind of in the end so far? 7, you said?
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah. And that's not including the nails in the hair yet, which will be happening in the next couple days. And it's just the grad picks that we have offered to help with. Those are all some things that might be unattainable. And it's really unfortunate that it has gotten to be that expensive to get a digital picture. Back in the old days, like when you bought your grad, you got the pictures, right? Here, you don't even do that because that's the other expense, is that you print them off and yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's very costly to have a graduate, and I'm very fortunate that, like I'm not really in a bad position, that those aren't things that I have to like really go, oh my gosh, how am I going to take care of this? So I'm so super proud of everybody for stepping in and helping to take that off of parents that, and it's anonymous. We're not like, oh, look at, we did this for this person or this for that person. Everything, and any other time that I've ever helped people during Christmas and things, we've never published who they are. Because that's nobody's business.
100%.
Help because you want to help.
Yeah.
And I wanted to end this part before we start talking about the powwow, that we've been speaking at Treaty 8 and with my organization, the IRSSS, about having an auntie and uncle's closet.
Okay.
Where we're going to collect like formal clothes. We're going to collect, nice dress shirts and pants and shoes, so that if you have a job interview or you need some formal clothes because you just got hired somewhere, that this is where you can come in and look. And if you see something you like, then please take it. So that's in the works. Auntie's and Uncle's Closet. Might even throw some ribbon skirts to borrow in there and stuff. And I know that there's one lady that donates, or she has a closet, Grandma's Closet, I think she calls it, Cookham's Closet, and she donates and loans out regalia all summer for youth that want to dance. So some really cool stuff out there. So
amazing.
Yeah.
Well, that's part one of our conversation with Connie Grey Eyes. Coming up in just a few minutes, we'll be talking a bit more about the Spirit of the Peace powwow. Again, starting later today. That coming up on This Week in the Peace.
Get ready, Dawson Creek. The legendary Nazareth is saying farewell, and you don't want to miss this. October 22nd, experience the unforgettable rock sounds of Nazareth. Live at the Ovintiv Event Center with special guests Helix and Lee Aaron. Tickets on sale now at lakeviewtix.com. Nazareth's Canadian Farewell Tour, October 22nd at the Ovintiv Event Center. Be there.
Get comfy by the campfire this summer with Kuma outdoor gear from Backcountry. Single chairs, doubles, or heated, Backcountry has plenty of Kuma luxury camping chairs in stock. Kuma outdoor gear is designed in Canada with the goal of creating rugged, durable gear you can count on. So be a happy camper and experience luxury outdoors with Kuma outdoor gear from Backcountry, where we help you enjoy the great outdoors. Visit Backcountry Fort St. John on Facebook or backcountryfsj.com.
Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm like totally ready.
Due to wildfire smoke and rain in the forecast, we're delaying our next Movies in the Park until June 27th. For our next movie in the park, we'll be showing the animated film Sing, a musical adventure with singing pigs, rocking porcupines, and a soundtrack that everybody will love. Centennial Park is the place, 7 p.m. is the time, and Enbridge is bringing the free popcorn. Yes, free popcorn, and possibly spontaneous dance moves. We'll also be doing a giveaway for a pair of Big Valley Jamboree tickets, so make sure you get there and put your family's name in. Our free Movies in the Park, June 27th at 7 p.m., are brought to you by the Fort St. John Co-op and Butler Farm Equipment, and are proudly supported by Murray GM, Enbridge, Burger King, R360 Environmental, and CN Rail.
Peaceland Oilfield Services has been providing safe and reliable oilfield services across Western Canada since 2012. From fluid hauling to vac trucks, welding and fabrication to NGL hauling, you can always count on Peaceland Oilfield Services to deliver. Discover their comprehensive suite of services that support oilfield exploration, drilling production, and processing operations. Boost your production. Contact locally owned and operated Peaceland Oilfield Services today. Visit peaceland-oilfield.com.
As a business owner, handling search ads, social campaigns, community events, and radio spots through separate vendors is a constant headache. Moose Media is your one-stop marketing shop. Our expert team can help you plan your strategy, craft your creative, place your ads online and on social media, and schedule radio spots on Moose FM, all under one roof. We make it simple, we promise. Simplify your workflows, amplify your reach, and measure success in one place. Visit moosemediafsj.ca or call 250-787-7100. Moose Media, from algorithms to airwaves.
Moose Country weather.
Gonna be a rainy day today, 5 to 10 millimeters of rain expected, as well as some local smoke. Temperature steady near 11 degrees. Periods of rain overnight, we'll see 5 to 10 millimeters. Temperature steady near 9 degrees. Periods of rain tomorrow, 10 to 15 millimeters expected, a high of 13, and showers and 17 degrees for Sunday.
You can watch this show live on Facebook. Catch the replays at energeticcity.ca or be part of the show by texting your thoughts to the Fort City Chrysler line at 250-787-2222.
Welcome back to the show. I'm Dub Craig. Now, yesterday I sat down with Connie Grey Eyes for a conversation mostly about the Spirit of the Peace Powwow, which again starts today and lasts through the weekend at the Taylor District Ice Center. My apologies. Here's the second part of our conversation. Tell us a bit about this. I think we were saying before we got on here, this is the 19th edition of this at this point, which is amazing. What is it? What happens at the Spirit of the Peace Powwow?
So, to be honest, we kind of lost count whether it's 18th or 19th.
Yeah.
Anyways, but you know what? My sister Susie, last night we had our final meeting before the big event, and she said something that our Muslim always said, that the powwow was a great way to spend your weekend. Mm-hmm. And it is. It's an alcohol and drug-free event where you can come and you can purchase, anything from beadwork to bannock. It's a showcase of our Indigenous culture, and a showcase of some amazing dancing and singing. We have a singing contest. First place is $10,000.
Wow!
All of our dancers will be competing, and on Saturday we are going to have a healing dance special. We're going to ask all the jingle dancers and anybody that needs a special prayer to come onto the dance floor, and the jingle dance is a healing dance prayer, and we're going to ask community members that want that special healing and that special prayer to come into the middle of the floor, and the jingle dancers dance around them, and it's a really beautiful ceremony. And that's what we're going to have. We also are going to select a senior and junior princess of our powwow, and they will be selected judging by what they know about their culture, how do they feel about reconciliation. Those are some of the questions that we're asking these young people, and then we select them, and they travel the powwow trail all summer and represent us with a beautiful beaded crown. It is stunning. So amazing.
I wanted to talk a bit about the competition for a moment. I don't know how much you can speak to kind of the nuts and bolts of it, but in terms of like the dancing and even the drumming and whatnot, I've been to these a couple times, but I wonder if you could just tell us a bit about how the competition happens. What are the groups kind of being judged on specifically, and how is the winner, if we or first place, second place, that sort of stuff, how is that sort of determined in kind of each thing that the competition's happening?
So after tomorrow night at 7:00 we start our grand entry, and right after that we go right into intertribals where the drums warm up. The dancers warm their legs up. We excuse the juniors, the tiny tots typically. Yeah. And we dance usually the juniors, teens and adults. They'll go their first round of competition. So they are judged on, you know, the completion of their outfits, how they dance, how do they carry themselves, and, you know, can they keep up with the drum?
Okay.
And the drum is no different. They're also getting judged. So they're getting judged on their unison, how they sound. Are they all, you know? So it's really quite. It's not just like, oh, they sound really good.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that go into judging the dancers and the drummers. And it does start Friday night, and all Saturday and Sunday they're judged. So they get a total of about 6 times that they're judged for
Wow.
their dancing and their singing. And then all of those get tabulated by our fabulous volunteers who spend the weekend counting every ballot the old school way, you know. So that's how they're judged.
Yeah, by ballots so it's not just like there's not one judge for each thing. It's kind of based on the crowd, I suppose.
It is. Our arena directors will go and select people that they know about powwow and how you know footwork is supposed to happen, what kind of dancing. There's different songs in different categories. No, there's crow hops, there's crow belts, there's like everything, like straights. There's different songs too that they're dancing to, and those judges need to know whether or not that dancer is dancing the correct way for that song as well, right? So there's a lot that goes on in behind just being able to come and watch the dancing, and it gets even more interesting when you start to learn how they're judging and what they're looking for.
Yeah, absolutely. Beyond that, of course, I mean, you have the competition and sort of the, you know, if you're not competing, the viewing pleasure of seeing and hearing everything that's happening. But there's kind of more to it than that, too. There's kind of festival-ish atmosphere to this, too, right? What else is happening around the powwow?
There is, you know what, we're going to have a Father's Day round dance. We are going to serve cake and do some raffles for the people who are the male role models in their youth's lives. And we always have intertribals, so that if you're not in an outfit, you can come onto the floor and dance with the dancers. There's going to be vendors selling t-shirts and you name it, like beadwork, moccasins. Like if you want a real traditional something from an Indigenous artist, you can come to the powwow and find those things. You know, I'm so, like, I don't know if you've ever been in the 548 Trading Post. Man, do they have beautiful things in there.
Yeah.
The local artisans, you know, that's what it will be like at the powwow in a bigger scale, because these vendors come from all over. And that's what you can expect. You know, we actually our powwow is known for the elders care area that we have.
Yeah.
We do not ever expect elders from any of the communities to come and spend any money. You know, we want to take care of them. That's what we're known for, and we have not disappointed. You know, the community hasn't disappointed. I'll have, you know, some of my friends will pop in and they'll be carrying like trays of homemade cookies that they spent all night making. And our elders are so taken care of. I love it when I see the first busload of elders coming in from one of the communities. I'm so happy to see them.
Yeah.
Because that's what it's all about, bringing us all together like the old days when we used to gather and share a meal and dance and sing. And the powwow is no different. Like if you have not had an opportunity to ever pop into this powwow, do. It is so fun, and it is such a great atmosphere. You don't have to worry about, you know, running into people that are like, you know, under the influence. You're safe there, and that's the vibe that we want, and that's the vibe that we have there. Everyone is welcome.
Yes. We're going to talk more about that in a second as well. I wanted to start with kind of a more specific question, I suppose, in this regard. Why is a powwow, and even specifically Spirit of the Peace powwow, important for Indigenous people who are putting it on, like you and the many who are coming from all over to compete in it, including locals and whatnot? Why is this an important thing that happens and happens every year?
The reason that this powwow is so important, first, it's the most northern powwow.
Oh, okay.
On the circuit. We pride ourselves in the welcoming that we give, and we try to accommodate, that if you're having trouble, we do our best to take care of our guests. The biggest reason it's so important is that in the last lately, we gather for funerals.
Yeah.
We gather because our children are overdosing, taking their lives. We gather because we're losing our elders. We gather for those kinds of ceremony. And what better way to come together than to celebrate and dance and lift each other up? Like I tell you, there's been some nights where I've been at other powwows, and they did a special, and it was a grass special, and this old man came in, and he could barely walk, and it was like I couldn't even remember. It was like midnight or something. The powwow was running so late, and he started dancing, and the moon was just right, and you could see your breath in the air, and I was like, man, like look at this guy, and look at how amazing this is. To see some of our elders still dancing and able to dance is a blessing. And this year, it feels right, with the graffiti that happened on the side of the Treaty 8 Tribal Association.
Yeah.
I want people to see who we really are. I've always said that when you see people on the streets, or I don't see people like, oh, there's a drunk or there's a drug addict. I see trauma, and I see that I used to also be that person.
Yeah.
And I just had a better place to lay my head. And we need to get to that place where we are where we get to be empathetic again. And being at the powwow, our Muslim Frank would always say, like, because people would show up intoxicated, right? And our Muslim would tell them to go sober up a little bit, and then they can come back. And we would be like, oh my God, and like at the beginning. But he made us realize that they're coming there for a reason. It's drawing them. And that's why we want to have this powwow. We're not one of the powwows that has one nation that provides the $100,000 plus that's needed to run this powwow.
Yeah.
We are a handful of volunteers that go door to door, knock on doors and send emails and say, please, this is an important event for this community. And every year we kind of pull it off, and there's a reason, because it's special. And our Muslim, our elder, always told us, don't ever worry about the money, because you guys are doing something good here, and it will happen.
Yeah.
And we've never had to cancel.
Yeah.
So, that says a lot, and that's why it's important.
Okay. My final question on this, I mean, you think about, as you say, everyone is welcome. This includes settlers, like me. And I know in the past I've been sort of reluctant to maybe go to events like this, because I'm like, am I welcome? Because, I'm representative of, the settler community, right, in a lot of ways. If you're, a settler, or, you're Filipino Canadian or a Sikh, or, everyone's welcome. Again, why is it important that we make time for even an hour to come and be at this and maybe learn something and buy something, or just see the wonderful culture on display at this?
Yeah, you know what? It's so much more than a dance competition. As we have our I was just talking to Stan this morning. Our MC is Stan Isidore. He's pretty well known in the powwow circle. I think he was on Blackstone TV show maybe or something. But him and I were talking this morning, and we were talking about people attending and how many years we've been doing it, and that when you come to the powwow, it is so much more than a competition, because when Stan's talking, he's explaining, he's telling about ceremony.
Yeah.
He's teaching about why do we have a victory song? Why, when we're coming into the grand entry, there's a certain song that we sing? Then we sing our flag song, and then we sing our victory song, and then we introduce all of our royalty. Our powwow princesses are royalty.
Yeah.
You know, we treat them as such. You know, they carry themselves for their communities and the powwow that they've won at. And there's just a lot to learn. And I was just I was at the government building, and I talked to a POC, person of color, and I was telling him about the powwow, and he's like, "Can I see?" And I showed him a video of my son, and he's like, "And we're allowed to come?" And I said, "I would love for you to go and grab a handful of your friends and come down. I'll be on the stage. Come introduce yourself and make yourself, well, you're welcome." You know, everybody is welcome. I can't tell you how many friends that I have that are not Indigenous that come and fully support by baking and bringing their breads and buns and cookies and just being there, showing your support for the Indigenous community and how wonderful it is to come and share that meal and the songs and the dances, and it's just a really, really great way to come in and learn.
Yeah, and I mean, it's free to attend as well. So even if you've got no money, you could come and enjoy, seeing what's on display and what's happening there. Yeah. So, okay. So tell us a bit, what time does it start kind of each day? You know, when can we come by and check it out?
Friday, the first grand entry is at 7 p.m. We go from 7 until like 10:30-ish. Then on Saturday, we have 2 grand entries. We start at 1 and 7.
Okay.
And then Sunday, we have 1 grand entry at 1.
Okay.
We go until like 8 or 9 on Sunday. And then we have a big giveaway at the end.
Gotcha.
Where we make sure that everybody that comes to the powwow leaves with something. Everybody gets a gift, and then we play a song, and everybody's dancing with their gifts, and that's how we end the powwow. And I really hope that it's a well-attended event. It's really a pleasure to bring this to the community, and I hope that more people will take the opportunity to come and check it out.
Absolutely. Connie, thank you so much for your time today. I appreciate it.
You bet.
That was Connie Gray Eyes, who talked to me yesterday about the Spirit of the Peace powwow, again starting this evening at 7 o'clock and goes through the weekend at the Taylor District Ice Center. Well, that's our show for today. Again, a big thanks to Connie Gray Eyes for joining me. You can listen to the show again by checking out the podcast at energeticcity.ca/podcast. We'll store this and future episodes there as well. And while there, make sure you check out our Before the Peace podcast as well. We're going to take a week off next week as we have a radiothon next Friday, but we'll be back on June 27th with a brand new show for you. I'm Dub Craig. Be well.
Join us again next Friday morning at 10 for another edition of This Week in the Peace, your weekly talk show dedicated to the people, events, and news of BC's Peace region. Or you can listen to this podcast again at energeticcity.ca.